Now, you're running away under turret. They will not get anything more. This will be a pullback, though. This is gonna be enough. Huge play from Hauntzer.
I'm just going top side then. We can dive top and use heralds.
Yeah.
Someone
Just go
use
flash
this.
for a minute, okay?
Yep. Yeah, we just
respect
wait
it.
enemy bot to show.
Shit and it's free, okay? Just be confident in that, right?
That's good. All right.
What is
GG
it?
on 3.
1, 2, 3, GG!
One, two, three.
Analyst
desk. We'll work on that one. You just got to look at behind the play from the Golden Guardians, who picked up their first win yesterday. Now looking towards their second against Immortals here today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting rosters. Selecting the blue side, it's Immortals. In the top lane, it's sOAZ. The jungle, Xmithie. Mid lane is Eika. Hakuho. Oh, ooh, I skipped right over Altec. Altec in the bot lane and Hakuho on support. Sorry, Altec. I apologize. And coaches on the stage, Xmithie and Go2One.
Facing them on the red side, it's Golden Guardians. In the top lane, we got Hauntzer, Closer in the jungle, Closer. Mid lane, Goldenglue. FBI in the bot lane, supported by Keith, with Coach and Nero in ChuChuZ.
Thank you, Mark. You made me feel better about my read.
I had to.
I appreciate that. As mentioned, the Golden Guardians, they picked up their first win yesterday. There is plenty to poke holes in there, but I think the big takeaway is that it was clear they had a game plan and they stuck to it.
Yeah, it was the Fiora in the top lane, which is something that when the LPL debuted, the first major league, a lot of emphasis was in the split pushing in the top lane, but no one in NA was really picking that up. Really a lot of failures with any split pushing attempts. And this was the first time that we really saw anybody bust out what is probably the strongest split pusher currently.
And I hope that they continue to play around Hauntzer as one of the main carries, because he has been good so far from the majority of the split. And I think while it is hard to carry from top lane, you kind of heard FLICKR saying that in his interview, that you're kind of more a secondary carry, that hopefully you can be played around, which means the other part of the maps need to step up so Hauntzer can be played around.
And in that victory, it's a big win for a player like Goldenglue, who's attempting to jumpstart a bit of a redemption arc for himself here on Golden Guardians.
He represents the
Hold it down for NA.
only hope for North America. There's no one else. So I think there's a lot of people that are secretly hoping Goldenglue just does so well that North American talent is revitalized. And you know, his champion pool is great. It's really just the execution that needs to be stepped up.
Yeah, and this time he did a good job, you know, putting his bot down the line a couple different times for the team to help get inhibitors down at different points there to stop recalls and stuff. And the funny thing is, it's not just Goldenglue helping out and other people. It's, you know, a ton of redemption arcs going on for this, both rosters.
Right, like it's not isolated to Golden Guardians. That's a good point.
You got Keith, you got Goldenglue, but then on Immortals you have sOAZ, who was benched in the middle of summer.
Yep.
You have Eika coming up after playing in the French League for a long time.
Yeah, LCS and then to the French League, right?
Yeah.
So, or EU LCS.
Yeah, right. And then you have Altec as well, missing a year, and coming back after grinding up Korean solo queue. So, like, this is basically like the two redemption arcs and who will be redeemed.
It's a good word. I don't know if Keith has a redemption arc per se. I feel like he just has his own brand new show. It's a spin-off. It's, oh, now we're a support, and let's see if people want to tune into this, because I'm still really excited to see where he goes.
Was that some weird implication that he was never at a position that he should now be attempting
Well,
to
I'm just saying that it's completely different, right? You didn't fulfill the expectations of an AD. Now you're a support, and it's not looking too hot, but I still think there's a lot of room for improvement. His team obviously would not have put him in this position if they didn't think he could do it.
I'm still calling it a redemption arc.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think for both of these squads, what we're looking for is for them to clean up the play within the game. Strategies are clear at times, but we have to see the execution come through to pick up a win. Both sitting at 1 and 2, looking for that second win of the year. Let's throw it out to the battle arena for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash, and I just hope that the spin-off show for Keith is not Joey from Friends. I think that one is a dated reference, but not the best spin-off show.
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, exactly the point. I've seen
What's a good spin-off show?
Better Call Saul.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. We found one.
Yeah.
We got in there. Let's get ourselves in a champion select. Immortals and Golden Guardians doing battle on the Rift.
All right, should be a good one. Golden Guardians coming off their first win of the split, taking down EG yesterday.
Yep.
I did like the idea of the Fiora split push. I think that it was really intelligent, not just as a general game plan, but also specifically into the Sona, who wants to group so heavily. And I think that that was a really intelligent answer to kind of deny what their opponents wanted to do and pick BAM, which is really what your goal should be every time, right? You should try to see what your opponents are trying to craft, what their game plan is going to be, and trying to pick that apart, with a set of champions that is going to more effectively work for you.
Well, Sett is going to work for Immortals, they're going to hope. Has looked pretty good so far as a champion in the LCS and worldwide. Tends to lose lane. We've seen people pick either lane bullies to really push him under turret or pick scalers to go equal and then outscale the champion, but we'll see what comes through in this one.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Kale ban, right? We got to actually see that from Ruin, who did really well in lane into it. I think that avoiding fighting with Sett really is the way you want to go in lane. Champions that have to engage and scrap with him often lose. He has an incredible amount of base stats. He has a ridiculous amount of regen with his passive. He's going to win most of those fights. So what you want from a Sett lane is taking a champion into it that will get more than he does from passively farming it out, which is a Kale, which is, in my opinion, things like a Vladimir, a Cassio, these types of champions that you're like, great, we're not fighting, but we both have even CS, and I'm more happy about that than you are, right? Yep. You're going to outscale him. So I would like to see something like that from Golden Guardians. We saw a lot of actually really good Vladimir play from Hauntzer last year, and was able to carry some games with that. So I think that could be a viable pick. I also do think Fiora can win that lane against Sett. Early lane can be difficult, but getting into the later stages, it becomes really hard for Sett due to how easy it is to actually parry the Haymaker, which is where a lot of the damage is coming from Sett. The reduced attack speed on the parry, also very valuable, and all the HP stacking. Well, you have a tremendous amount of percentage health true damage on Fiora that can really cut through that, so it can be a great pick.
Absolutely the case. We'll see if that does come through in the second phase, as you yet to see a top laner from Golden Guardians. One thing I want to note here is Aphelios will be unpicked, it seems, in this game. Now, Altec had received 2 Aphelios bans earlier so far this split, but he's on Xayah here. And I've actually seen Sett, Xayah, Rakan as the 1, 2, 3 almost every time I see Sett so far. That seems to be the follow-through. And it's not just for the Vestian Sett synergy. We're not playing TFT right now. But it's the fact that I think Sett really lends himself to very standard front-to-back team fights. And Xayah is probably the best, just run at you and press buttons team fighter in terms of pure auto-tech DPS. And so the combo sets up pretty well. You got both Sett and Rakan for engage, and Xayah's good setup in the back.
Yeah, I really do agree. I think that's mostly where Sett wants to be, right? If you're playing against teams that are trying to kite back and disengage and poke you out, Sett can really struggle to actually kind of impose his will on the game. But if you are fighting front to back, if you can just be hitting some beefy guy in the front line, charging up your True Grip passive, being able to get a huge W Haymaker out, that is where you not only become incredibly tanky, but also put out a lot of damage, and the true damage is so effective against tanks. Sejuani would be interesting, alongside Sett. Anytime you are paired with melee champions, the passive works out pretty well, but don't think we're going to see it. So it will be the Syndra mid, and we're just waiting for that last pick jungle. Rek'Sai popping out to me is a pretty obvious one, and that's going to be it for Xmithie. As people just like this matchup in the Lee Sin so much, and Xmithie is such a comfortable Rek'Sai player. Once they had Syndra locked in, they're not at threat of being fully AD, so I think pretty nice setup.
Interesting to me that Golden Guardians did not pick their top laner before their jungler here. They know Sett's up in the top lane. There's really no expectations otherwise. And it's because they're waiting to see the whole team comp. It's Soraka heading into the top lane. Unless it's Tahm Kench, I don't think so.
No, it's Soraka.
Soraka top for Hauntzer. Should be able to actually do pretty well in lane. And global healing on global healing FBI. My only question is, do they have the actual damage output to kill any frontline on Immortals?
So yeah, that's my real concern with this composition is can you ignore the Sett and be successful in that team fight, right? Because LeBlanc and Senna aren't the highest damage champions. As far as how the lane goes, generally very early lanes for Soraka against melee champions go in her favor. You have quite a bit of push with the Starfall, with that Q that you can spam out. So much of your success in lane actually just depends on hitting those for the regen. The problem becomes against a champion like Sett, very quickly, if you take defensive runes, if you take the regeneration runes in Resolve, and you start with a D shield, and you have all your passive, Soraka just doesn't actually have enough damage to really threaten a kill on Sett. So you can get in these tough positions as Soraka, where the lane just starts getting frozen on you because you can't actually force them off the wave, you can't actually fully push it in. But what you are looking for mostly on Soraka is these types of cross-map plays. You have a lot of global help in the form of Senna shield plus the Soraka ultimate. The most kind of effective build I've been seeing is the Athene's Rush into Redemption, and that is going to make it very easy to have these super powerful ultimates.
Well, curious to see. It feels like Goldenglue is going to be the win condition here for Golden Guardians because no one else is really in the side lane here. Soraka in the mid-late game, I feel like, not the best at the control, but that said, I haven't seen a ton of Soraka top in pro, so, we'll see what happens. Last few times I saw it, like when Wonder played it, it's like, well, G2 just wins lane by so much, it doesn't matter what you do, you just walk over everybody. So I want to see what comes through into this one. Gonna be an exciting game here. And our fourth LCS game of the day as Immortals and Golden Guardians do battle on Summoner's Rift. Got the Visayan trio for the third time in a row here on the blue side, and a Soraka top. We're all excited to see it for Golden Guardians.
I love how many cheers you get for Soraka top, which is
Soraka top, let's go!
just like the least interactive top lane champion that every top laner hates to play against.
All right, better or worse than Spell Thief Zillion?
Probably about the same.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Soraka's not really trying to do much.
At least
you.
she last hits minions.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I want to throw back to the worst All-Stars event ever, where it was Afromu versus Froggen, auto attack only Zillion 1v1.
The no runes, no masteries.
No runes, no masteries, no spells, last hit to 100. Worst fight.
Froggen actually completely outsmarted everyone in that 1v1. He just he convinced Afromu to do that, and then he convinced FLICKR to do an Anivia 1v1 against him with like his one trick.
Yep, just smurfed through half the 1v1 bracket.
He just outsmarted them all.
That's big brain. There's better brain than hands, though his hands are good too.
He's been powering up.
He's been powering up.
All right, but yeah, this is going to be interesting. Also, PTA on Sett. That's a first for me. I haven't actually seen that. You mostly just see Conqueror. Grasp is actually the highest win rate as far as solo queue goes, and I have seen Grasp be fairly effective. I cannot say I've ever seen PTA. Generally speaking, when you are comparing PTA versus Conqueror for top lane matchups, PTA is considered more of the early game, right? It is very effective as far as actually giving you additional burst in the early game, being able to get powerful trades. So what I'm looking for is something along the lines of, hitting Soraka with the E, pulling her in, and then trying to get a really quick trade there to proc that PTA, where you then follow up with that Haymaker after.
Knock up, Ignite is on FPI, taking some damage. Good Guardian Shield from Keith, and now the retrade. Not too bad on Hakuho, decent slow. And a nice Q into Altec here as well. Went pretty close to equal.
Yeah, pretty close to equal there, as Senna does have kind of that extra range, and the exhaust coming out very effective. Guardian absorbing a lot of the damage on both sides. So it's just the trade of summoners. Ignite is the lower cooldown, I do believe, so that is going to work a little bit in Immortals' favor, as both ADs did use a potion, and you could even see Immortals look to try to get a little bit of deep vision here as they do have the push. I'm going to be interested to see what the skill order will be for Hauntzer. It is going to be Q max, but there is some differing on how people actually skill this out when they kick their first point in W. Do you actually fully max the Q? Do you go Q and then a bunch of points in E before you go to W, or are you looking to group earlier? So that'll kind of tell you how he wants to play the game. If he starts maxing W early, he is looking to group. If he stays more in pure Q and E, he's hoping that he can continue to be effective in a side lane and 1v1 against sOAZ for a while.
Yeah, worth noting, W literally uncastable when you're alone. Doesn't do a single thing, so gonna wait at least a little bit to level it at all. And certainly, as you mentioned, not max it first, no reason to do so.
Yeah, it's just more, do you put more points in E before you go into W or not? Because you're always gonna go points into Q.
Yep.
That is your wave clear. It is also your poke. It is what is going to keep you healthy throughout these trades.
Okay, attempt on the bottom side. Closer is around, but they're going to kite right back. Couldn't quite find the opening there.
And he has been spotted by Xmithie. Xmithie is here, so they may want to be the ones who engage, but Closer will go back to his team and just be able to hop out of there. So No real issue for him, but it does mean the Scuttler is going to go over to Xmithie, and he is spotted on that.
Xmithie ties the camp score briefly, but Closer going to grab his Gromp without much issue. Do you want to note, both junglers have made sure they passed towards Gromp in the fairly early game in this one. It is a very valuable camp to take down. Gold for XP, or golden XP per time, actually quite positive on that camp. Quick pause. It was Keith who submitted the command. We'll see what it's for in a little bit.
Yeah, so just to touch on that top lane a little bit more, it is going to be second win taken by sOAZ. So, you know, that becomes very, very effective against champions that are so poke reliant like Soraka. Soraka needs to whittle people down to really threaten any sort of a kill or even lane pressure because you have the Doran Shield regen, you have second win regen, and then the passive on Sett where you're getting additional regen every 5% of missing health you have becomes really a lot for Soraka. But so far, you know, Hauntzer has been controlling that lane fairly well. He's been trying to basically hold the wave outside of his turret without letting it crash, which is both a safe spot for him and also, you know, a dangerous spot for sOAZ.
Yeah, going to be something to watch for, certainly, as we wait to hear. Sadly, have not yet heard what the condition is for this one, but as we wait to get into the game, overall game state, of course, very, very close. Gold almost identical. And again, I still want to redirect to Goldenglue being a primary win condition here because I'm not expecting the Soraka side lane. I'm not expecting the Senna side lane. And this is the second time in a row, I think back to Hauntzer's FLICKR game, where Golden Guardian said, okay, we have a very obvious split pusher. We're going to play around one person on the other side and the four of us together. And last time around, it was Syndra with the group and all that stuff. This is a different one for it's Golden Glue's time to split push. And it's a trend coming through for Golden Guardians where they're playing very obvious sort of 1-4 play styles.
Yeah, and he did actually have LeBlanc game in the first game of the season against 100 Thieves where they had a significant advantage. They felt like they should have been able to close that game out, but they weren't quite able to do it. And, you know, he was performing very well in that, but they just couldn't actually close out the game. And, you know, sometimes with LeBlanc, you can get those side lane advantages, but it's very often more about pushing the side lane and then finding a pick, you know, being able to actually control vision and catching people in rotation, people going between lanes where you can then pick them off. Because LeBlanc, you know, it's rare that you see the games where LeBlanc is just winning through, you know, taking all your towers, for example. Right. But it's more just about the pressure and then creating vision and, you know, areas where your opponents have kind of this dark spot on the map where he can pair up with Closer and try to take people out.
Yeah, going to be fun to watch for here as we, about 3.5 minutes from this point on is what the guess that I'm getting for when we're back into the game. So not too long to go. But if you need a quick commercial break, I understand. We'll see you back here when the game starts back up. But otherwise, it's been a close top lane matchup, right? Equal and CS over there. Mid lane very, very tight there, of course, as well. And on the other side, of course, we talked about it briefly, the Immortals lineup. It's you know, pretty center front to back stuff, as we kind of expected. I think the primary engage duties are going to be mostly on Hakuho here on Rakan. He's the most reliable engage. We've talked about the fact that Sett kind of has to walk at you, can walk at the front liner to R them, but only to get in range. It's all pretty short range there in and of itself. Rek'Sai flash engages, usually not that strong, tends to be a fairly squishy champion. You go Warrior Cleaver, and if you're flashing forward in front of your team, you're going 1-for-1. That's not ideal either. So gonna be very watchful of what Hakuho can do when he gets out of lane. Of course, we're in Season 2020, where supports don't have to spend more than their opening gold on support items. So like early Mobies comes through a lot of the time. I know a lot of sports, favorite thing to do is recall on Mobies, just walk top lane, and no one ever remembers that supports can roam, and you just get a free kill. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I remember playing a like 5v5, like full pre-made normal game with Glebe, and he was Trundle support, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna 1v2 bot lane on first recall, I'm just gonna lane top, basically. You just like pillar the top laner. I was like 1v2 for like 3 minutes, but he's like, you're not feeding? Good job. You're minus 20 CS? That's okay. We killed top laner 3 times. He's like, you're doing great, freak. All right, just keep it up. And I was like, okay, you know what? You go do you. And yeah, it worked out. We're getting the letter R in chat, so we're ready to go back into this one. The Spectator 3 has unpaused the game. Thank you, Spectator 3. Let's play League of Legends, or watch people play it.
Second one.
Yeah, you know, you're right.
Unless you just want to get out of here and queue up.
No, it's fine, you know? And nice little trade. That's going to be a root.
Yeah, so we will see. You know, when you're comparing engage options, though, Rakan is someone who is considered to be very reliable engage, right? And you look over on the other side for Golden Guardians, they don't really have a super reliable way to engage. You know, you have to rely more on getting a pick with LeBlanc, you know, coming out of a brush, or some sort of a kick flash type play, you know, with Lee Sin, but that's so difficult to actually pull off when you're trying to go forward into your opposing team. You know, if you actually just dive in, you take a Q, it can be very telegraphed, where Rakan can actually just press ult and you charm yourself as you're going forward, essentially.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is one of the things that we've seen a lot of teams drafting these types of compositions like Golden Guardians have, and they can be successful in lane, but they struggle to close games out. Because you have to play from a position of power, and the way you essentially force fights with these types of comps is by going to an objective and forcing your opponents to come fight you and then killing you.
Ooh, okay. Decent was right there, but yeah, it gets a little bit of damage there. Gets to force FBI back, but it's going to be a pretty hard recall here for the Immortal squad. Altec has TP, but that's going to be damage from the turret.
Yeah, it does cancel the recall, though, of Closer, so, you know, it's going to be more time for Xmithie, who's counter-jungling up on the top side. He's actually taking the Krugs away right now. They do TP in time to actually stop that wave from fully crashing, and Xmithie is going to be behind Hauntzer.
Here comes the play. Gets a slow. There's going to be a silence to prevent the knockup. Here it comes in the top side. Pulled back by Sett as well. Does he even need the flash? Lands the E, walks backwards. Flash at the end, because sOAZ could have chased, but flash for flash, not bad for a Soraka surviving a game.
Yeah, not bad at all. Goldenglue also teleported, though, and I must assume that was actually canceled. Or FBI did, so it must have been canceled by Eika in the mid lane. That's what I'm going to guess. Maybe we can get a replay on that, because teleport was coming in from the red side. They're lucky that that was able to be interrupted, or that likely would have been a kill for sure, as Xmithie was quite low. But either way, they do force Hauntzer out. They trade that flash for flash. And Sett is going to have a bit of an experience advantage as a result of that. He is up some farm, but some of that difference can be made up here as Hauntzer gets back to lane. And
all right.
Closer here.
Gonna try. There's the chain. Iika, if he doesn't flash, will be rooted. Q's gonna land a decent damage at least. Ult comes through. Shield comes back out. Couple hits will kill him, but they get the stun. Iika survives it as well.
Yeah, not quite enough damage to actually kill off Eika. And likewise on the other side, getting Closer very low, but not quite lethal damage there. This will be an advantage, though, for Goldenglue in that mid lane, pushing out that Syndra, who doesn't have teleport. And now it's going to be LeBlanc trying to chase Xmithie off of his pink ward. He has pink wards on both sides, so you can, you know, you talked about how important he is as that wing addition, and you can kind of see that in where they're investing their vision in the early game, right? These two pink wards around mid lane there, pretty important to try to keep him safe, allow him to push and play aggressively on this LeBlanc, because they know this is a pretty heavily skilled matchup, and they want Goldenglue to be able to distort aggressively, to be able to have confidence to try to get an edge over Eika.
Well, bottom Scuttle Crab taken. Xmithie actually getting to spend more time on those. Having an 8 CC on the kit certainly helps kill those faster, and has been one to get the lion's share of those in the mid game. And bit of vision there. Gold difference still only about 200 across the sides, but Golden Guardian slightly ahead in that metric. As top comes back, Hauntzer walks to the lane. Also has his ultimate available, still has Wish, so any big play he can answer pretty reliably. FBI close to 6, about 2 waves away from that, so double globals about to be online, but Immortals got to push in bot lane first. They're going to get to go for Mountain Drake, and it looks uncontested, even the Syndra coming down. No one going to answer this one, so first pick of the game going to go to Immortals.
Yeah, good start for them. Begin stacking up towards that soul, and as you said, you know, that Soraka ultimate, it becomes actually so difficult to look for fights elsewhere, right? If you're trying to do any sort of jungle mid 2v2, Golden Guardians should just win purely off of that Soraka ultimate. It's so damn effective, you know, when you are getting that heal on multiple players. It's really a huge amount of health, especially when you are building up that Athenes, because you're not actually, you know, using the Athenes on yourself, right? You're charging it up off your opposing player and then always having that boosted up to be able to heal your allies. You know, even at rank 1, you know, if you're below 40% health, this is already a 275 heal.
Yeah, really strong stuff right there. Quick check-in on more Soraka stuff. 4 points Q, 2 points E. As we expected for the first few levels, has ignored W so far. But yeah, 7 levels in, hasn't put a point into it yet. Maybe at 8 we see that happen, and we'll check in when it comes through. But this is pretty standard Soraka top stuff to just play a little bit defensively and keep the lane going. Here comes sOAZ, ults him in towards the wall. Gets some decent damage with the slow as well, but the Q lands. Nice E backwards, buys a lot of space. The true damage coming through, and sOAZ, you can see, does 80% health bar in the all-in, but that's without Wish coming through for the extra heal.
Yeah, so no, didn't have lethal damage there. Hauntzer knew it, but he is going to get control of the lane, right? Hauntzer is going to be pushed back. Likely will just run back, and he's actually going to teleport right to lane. Because when you're chunked that low, even though you know if you hit a couple Qs, you can maybe heal back up, you don't know where Xmithie is, right? So there's a huge danger of actually, you know, being ganked and killed off at that point. See how well he can CS this. Looks like he should be able to get all of it.
Perfect, yep. Woo! Soraka last hitting skills. I know supports out there. Actually, you get to max Q in your lane, so yeah. I mean, you have no excuse, supports. Last hit the minions.
Yeah, Soraka's actually a pretty good last hitter.
Yeah.
With that Q. They are going to be looking to start up this Rift out potentially, but Xmithie is there to spot this, so will just be a scuttle play thus far. Eika moving over though.
That could go for the knock, good for big damage. The actual CC'd scuttle takes increased damage from Smite. One of the very, very few true damage multipliers that still exist in the game. If it's during CC, it actually can amplifies true damage, so easily gets that burst regardless, you don't have to smite it anyway. Gets that one picked up, kills the control ward as well.
So Golden Guardians are going to have to actually make a move here.
That's flash to flash. That's Eika stuck in place. All the spells coming out, and First Blood comes through to close. It gets healed back up as well.
Yeah, and right as I call it out, they go for it, and they're going to be able to grab that kill because sOAZ was already on the bot lane. He was already pushing this out, and they had not moved Hauntzer down to actually answer this. So they either have to immediately run down there or look for a play. They decide to make that move for the play, and Goldenglue flash follow with that root. Very well played.
They're not hitting the Herald from what I see, though. Just killing the controller, going back across the map. It's Hauntzer once again under turret. Just going to pretty easily survive that one. Does learn the heal level 8. That's kind of the expected skill out of there. Keith going to walk through a bunch of feathers, though. He is CC'd, almost folded dead. Where's the wish? Doesn't cast it. Probably wasn't going to live anyway. But Keith in the wrong place, the wrong time.
Yeah, I assume that was the call. You know, there was plenty of time to use the ultimate if they wanted to, but looked like he was pretty doomed at that point. There's 3 or 4 Immortals members around him, and he was going to be in trouble. So now it's Immortals who actually get to start up this objective, despite the fact that Golden Guardians had kind of kept extra members up here longer.
They don't know that he was there. The knockback is going to give enough space to walk away from the root. So to go back over the wall. Now another fight in the top side. Hauntzer gets a slow. No heavy CC available remaining. Takes damage, walks away. He lands more kills to stay back up. But Immortals off that kill on Keith, able to take the top lane Herald as well. So they're close in gold, actually slightly up. They got the Drake, they got the Herald. Immortals having a great early game.
Yeah, they're looking good. And thus far, you know, we are seeing the trading from sOAZ going more and more in his favor. Interested to see that he is going Black Cleaver. I'm more of a fan of the Triforce build. I do think the attack speed is actually quite valuable. As we are going to see this play one more time. It's really all about the chain connecting and the early flash from Goldenglue, you know, to be able to get over there and follow up. That was a spectator bug. There was actually a first chain on him, I do believe, and then you just saw the follow-up chain. So he kept in range the whole time, was able to double chain him there with the ultimate, and follow-up damage easily comes through from Closer and FBI.
As we clear the minions yet again, it is Immortals who seem to have the advantage in this 2-on-2, at least in the clearing it first. But CS lead is to FBI, who's stacking up the Manamune. 25 souls picked up so far. That's the first range upgrade here. Trying to keep up as best he can as the Warrior Enchant's close to done for Closer. Has the stopwatch picked up so that he can survive a Syndra ult in some case without having to use Wish. And we'll wait as the powers continue to build up for both teams.
And there it is, the Athene's rush. So I am assuming it is going to be, you know, the Athene's into Redemption. Death Cap as a third item can be pretty strong. There are kind of more different routes players will go with that third option. You can go to things like Azonia's if you're worried about getting dove and focus yourself, but really this does make your cross-map plays so damn strong because you'll easily charge up. You'll always have that 250 bonus healing from the Athenes from just queuing sOAZ over and over. So any sort of play on the other side of the map, all of a sudden, your ultimate, instead of doing 300, is doing like 500.
Silence doesn't come in time to stop the knockup, but still lands the Q back, and yeah, Hauntzer lands the Q. You heal back up all the damage you would have taken on the way out. Crucially, Athene's does not affect self-healing. You do not feed that back into yourself, but again, does help your teammates out there. And bot lane under fire. A little bit of damage there from Demolish. Here comes the Herald as well. Bot lane turret gonna be broken. This will slam for all the rest of the damage right there. First turret gonna go to Immortals. Altec gonna get plenty of damage here. Shares it across the rest of the squad, but Immortals cracking open 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, nicely done by them. They have control of this dragon area here too. We'll see if they'll actually look to move towards that as Goldenglue does get spotted by a ward. He had the sweeper up, but I don't think he actually saw. Okay, so now he does see that ward. He is still in vision as Xmithie was laying in wait, but they're not actually going to decide to go for this.
Attacks at once, blast comes back over, mid lane gonna stay safe, and the turret plates fall with mostly Immortals getting value out of that one. And they sit on this 1,000 gold lead still, and they also own most of this bottom river with the scuttle and with the control ward down and with the bot lane pushed. So with the 1,000 gold lead, Cloud Drake is likely to be theirs as well. So let's push up the top lane. Goldenglue gonna grab that farm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Goldenglue is now going to be the one to just answer Sett, and we see Hauntzer more spending his time just kind of grouping. as he is basically just this super powered support, right? You're putting all this gold into Soraka to make this really, really powerful support type character to back up your carries, and mostly a lot of that onus is going to be on FBI to get that consistent damage out. You know, Goldenglue will be this guy out in the side lanes, but if you are Hauntzer, you're mostly going to be supporting FBI, trying to keep him safe so that he can get damage out from teamfights.
I'm very curious what soul we get. 50-50, it's Ocean Soul for the map, and it is. And I don't know how Golden Guardians kills anyone if Immortals gets Ocean Soul. Your consistent damage is so low, you probably heal in a team fight.
Yeah, I think you actually just never kill them unless LeBlanc one-shot someone. That's really your way, right? Like you have to insta-kill someone, but someone like the Sett, how do you ever kill this guy if he goes Steric second with an Ocean Soul, right? You probably actually never dies, even if he is getting hit by multiple people.
Yeah, there is one thing I do want to bring up, because I know we've been talking about low damage Senna comps a lot. Her upfront burst is actually pretty good, right? So you get the % health damage in the passive, your first Q auto is a lot, you go Duskblade almost every single game. So the one-shot dream does exist, and it really is only Sett who's actually absurdly tanky in this comp. But the point does still stand that a consistent team fight is going to be super hard, I feel like, for Golden Guardians to win.
Yeah, and I think one of the troubles with Senna is with any champion that doesn't have a move block, oftentimes can be kind of zoned out of fights, right? You know, when you have people flying towards you, if the Rek'Sai is coming at you, if you have Hakuho coming at you here on the Rakan, looking to kind of push you backwards, all of a sudden, it's much easier for someone like the Xayah to really get things done.
That is a lot of damage into Sett over the top. They almost got him in one. One more hit needs to happen. They cannot get that last shot through, though, and Xmithie just barely walks away.
Goldenglue played that very, very well in the face of Eika as well. To actually get the flash out of Xmithie, almost takes him down with the help of FBI using that ultimate. But a pretty slow game thus far. Both teams feeling pretty good about just kind of scaling this up. Something I'm going to check in on now is actually the Senna stacks, and we do have 30 stacks right now, so 10 off that second range upgrade, so nothing crazy by any means, but is extending that range, and that can become very important when you are that primary carry, because one of the ways that you can actually consistently get more damage out is simply through having the safety of that additional range and outranging the enemy carries in their kind of zone of threat.
There's some GLP out of Eika here. Extra slows to set up for the stuns later on. We've seen that occasionally on Syndra build.
Yeah, it seems to be getting a lot more popular, Orianna, on Syndra, on a lot of these types of champions to really go for this. Instead of the Ludens, it is a little bit lower burst, but it is a lot more control, and you can set up for things like Scatter the Weak, you can set up for things like your own Shockwave, and players are really starting to value that quite highly.
Ward's going down, TP burn to go back into this middle lane. And FBI will continue to play the wave clear game. Soraka is playing basically the defensive side lane here against Sett, just trying to wave clear, get the turret alive. That's going okay. It's Goldenglue who's the 1 point of pressure on the entire map, though. It's 2 winning lanes for 1. And with mid lane winning, it means Immortals can go for second Herald pretty easily. It means in 2 minutes, that Ocean Drake is probably likely to go towards them as well if Golden Guardians can't get back on the map. 1,300 gold lead down for the squad as FBI grants some move speed, a little bit of cloaking, but they don't find a real fight here.
I do think if you're Hauntzer, you're pretty happy with how this lane is going. If Sett is just going to push the wave in over and over and you're not going to get dove, well, then you have free access to the farm, right? It's not as though he's getting actually frozen on and in a spot where he can't pick up a lot of that CS. So he does have a lot of farm. He is going to be working towards that redemption. And that 2-item point is really where you become incredibly effective in those team fights.
Decent damage again out of Goldenglue. QR comes in, a little bit of poke, but soon single Ocean Drake might come through. 2.5% missing health healed every 5 seconds per Ocean. Getting up with some of that poke damage coming in time after time. This time around, though, after the recalls that come through for Altec, just brings TP to get to mid lane. That's the space they needed. They got Drift Trail. It's going to despawn in 1 minute, but now Immortal's going to come through. They're going to find that first bit of CC. Silence on top, that means Hauntzer is safe. But now,
behind.
Pop the eye. sOAZ is here. Healing is available. All the ults are up for Golden Guardians, but Immortals have all their members here as well. Eye popped again. Smite range very soon.
Oh, sOAZ on the flank here. He can dunk peek into the team.
Here comes the play. Charm, double knockup, big damage, reset coming through. When does the heal come out? Ulti comes across for just a couple of shields, and now sOAZ. Does he ever take damage? Pops the first shield, staying alive. He's 50 in the back line. He's going to be careful, has to walk away. Goldenglue low, but he's on the flank. Can he find the opening? A little bit of damage. Ulti already down for Eika. Ignite, though, is up for him. Feathers come down, and Golden Guardians just sustain through the fight so well. Turns out you take the long fight, but you keep healing. That your health difference still goes positive.
Yeah, that Senna Soraka combo being so effective. Soraka spending her health to heal the teammates, Senna then healing up the Soraka, and essentially acting as this health battery for her, really allowed them to kind of sustain through these fights. And while it is fairly early on in the game, Immortals just didn't actually have the burst, enough damage to really knock someone down. And now that dragon is spawning, it feels like Golden Guardians are going to be first to the spot. So we'll see if they can get anything from this.
I kind of would like to see an ult from Geets to get down to the river a little bit faster and fight for the scuttle, but the squad's still coming down. Spires Bloom used, Blue picked up by Goldenglue. Good smite.
Yeah, I think Immortals are going to want to try to delay, right? They have no ult on Hakuho or Altec, but he just steps way too far.
Danger, has the shield, has the heals, doesn't burn it just yet, but Redemption is going to come down, keep him reasonably safe. There's the heals coming through. Now on the bottom side, they found the stun. Where's the wish? Goldenglue gets the health, but it's not going to be enough. Xmithie finds the kill in the 2v1. Now Golden Guardians in a 4v5 of the map, going to have a hard time finding this one to go. Looking for Hakuho, goes over the wall, finds the knock. Actually, might have interrupted the Q damage. Now closer. Is he in the wrong spot? sOAZ going to be rooted up, though. Pretty tanky on this set. Big shield comes down. Blasco not ideal. Slowed again. Closer back in, finds a kick. Xmithie not going to go down just yet, though. And Sett buying even more time, but chops up! Keith with a big play. Do they have the damage, though? Another shield comes out. Looking for the re-engage. Q's going to lay it. He's still walking away. And he cannot find the damage. It's Immortals going 2 for 0 in the back half of the fight. They just cannot kill sOAZ.
Yeah, Altec finally arrives to the fight there, and it turns around completely. Started off very well for Immortals as they're attacking the Golden Guardians on multiple fronts, right? They're attacking Keith, and then at the same time looking for a pick on Goldenglue. They're able to extend this fight, and Altec does rejoin, grabs them their 3rd straight dragon, that much closer to the Ocean Soul, and what feels like pretty much certain doom for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, we've seen both halves of that comp. Well, this is the back half where you don't have the damage to kill things off.
So one of the big things here was actually, Hauntzer expends his redemption. He also expends his Athene's charges before the fight happens onto Goldenglue, right? So there's that wish comes out, but it is reduced by Ignite, and there are no Athene's charges to actually really boost it up. So Goldenglue gets knocked down. Then they're looking for the engage. Now this was beautiful from Hakuho. He W's over the wall, and it completes as closer is coming in, interrupting that QXQ damage. So very, very big there. And now you're seeing kind of some of the problems that this Golden Guardians comp has. sOAZ is so damn tanky. He ults closer away, tries to escape. Keith with a nice play to pull him back in, but they just don't seem to have the damage to actually access it. And as FBI walks forward, Eika and Xmithie are actually behind him and have wrapped around from behind, pushing him out of the fight, allowing Altec free time to take down closer and to really fed Keith.
They play on the top side now as we get out of the replay. Goldenglue forced to jump away as sOAZ and Hauntzer trade a few blows. Hauntzer finds the slow. He will really never kill sOAZ here, but at least to make him annoyed for a little while.
You can definitely make him annoyed. It's Rocket Top.
Yeah, that sounds like what the champion does. Lands the Qs, lands the wave clear. sOAZ for now going to have to give up the wave and wait for it to push into him. Shouldn't be a big problem.
Yeah, and sOAZ knows he doesn't actually need to be the primary damage dealer, right? So I think he's just building towards Stoneplate. He has Executioners, he has a Black Cleaver, and he's just going to go Stoneplate, I think, and just be this big meatball in the front line that Golden Guardians can't really touch. There's going to be tons of damage coming out from the rest of the squad.
And Keith again in the front side being found out. Heal should come through. They don't cast it. Wish doesn't come down. He just dies. Where's the coordination? You even used Redemption.
Yeah,
maybe it was on cooldown for a second, but I don't think so. He just didn't press R.
It looked like it was up. Maybe make the call that he was going to die, but I think he could have got there in time had he actually dropped the ultimate. Redemption comes through. Maybe he can make something happen, but Immortals getting another pick as closer in trouble.
This time around, where's the healing? Finally gets a bit over the top right there. Xmithie takes a lot of damage, and they do get the kill picked up. Wish finally comes down. No Hakuho. Doesn't have a lot of places to go, but gets away from the root. Jumps back to sOAZ. Technically a 1-for-1 overall.
Yeah, good pick there from the Golden Guardians. It seemed like that wish was mostly just for the assist. That it didn't
yeah, that was after anyone was in danger.
Yeah, no one was really in danger there. The cooldown is pretty long, but Eika is going to take the turret up here on the top side. Goldenglue getting pressured off a little bit as this blue buff Syndra can be very, very annoying. Checking in on some of the item progression here, it looks like FBI is going for that 3rd item, Rapid Fire, I'm assuming, with the Crit Cloak. We already have the IE plus Essence Reaver combo completed for Altec, so he is going to be putting out a lot of damage at this point. And I'm interested to see if he also picks up an Executioners. I do think it's reasonable to have multiple sources of healing debuff when you're up against Senna and Soraka beyond just the Executioners on Sett. So here this is one more time. Hakuho with a nice charm gets the speed up from actually charming up Keith, then is able to charm up both the other two members. Yeah, there was lots of time to actually ult there, so
yeah.
Hauntzer just a bit of a misplay. Should have been able to save Keith potentially.
I think he lives with them getting into range line of the spells. He's gonna have the Senna shield in a second as well. So small misplay there. Gold lead 2,500 in favor of Immortals. Turret going down low. Not quite dead. Finally does drop. And that's the gold lead now even larger. 3,000 up. Not showing signs of slowing down. And the crucial moment is in 80 seconds when this fourth Drake spawns.
It feels like it's all about that. And when Immortals have vision control, they're able to find picks utilizing Hakuho and this Rakan very effectively, right? There's no real incredible go button that is very reliable for Golden Guardians when they're playing this type of composition. So much of that pressure is on Closer.
Okay, he's fine.
Yeah.
A little dangerous.
Team's gonna be resetting now. Just under a minute until that dragon is up, so it's gonna be about the vision battle in this area. And we'll see if Golden Guardians is able to kind of get over there and really start to encourage into that dragon pit. It's looking like Spirit Visage as the option here for Hauntzer. So that's another one. Obviously a much more defensive option, but it does kind of give you a lot of safety against champions like Eika. And it also helps you refill your health a lot more as you're increasing the self-healing you're taking, when you hit those Qs. So that can actually keep you putting out heals a lot longer if you're landing those Qs.
Yeah, can affect himself with stats. Even just the flat HP, not too bad either, of course. And gonna knock this wave down. Golden Guardians, 15 seconds on Ocean. Again, this is a fight that Golden Guardians needs. If Immortals get it, I think they 95-5 win this game.
Yeah, pretty key pickups here too. Executioner is just bought up by Altec. Stoneplate completed for sOAZ, so he's gonna be so damn hard to take down. Eika is moving over to the rest of the squad. Goldenglue's not here yet, so Guardians gotta be a bit careful.
sOAZ, which is almost irrelevant, putting him at 85% here.
Yeah, I mean, if you can poke him down low.
Again, getting knocked on here. Big damage coming across the charms there. Again, just one shot where they can do anything about it. A 1-for-0, and Hakuho at 1 health cannot quite die, and sOAZ has engaged. Redemption buys a bit of time. Damage towards Closer. He's going to get knocked down as well. A double kill. Make it a triple kill here for Altec. They are running over the Guardians.
Yeah, they're just going to run mid lane. They just want to take an inhibitor at this point. They could get the inhibitor, go to Baron or Soul. It looks like they're heading towards Baron. I honestly think it would be better to just get the Soul. I feel like it ensures your victory as it is that permanent buff, but they do prioritize the Baron here. We'll see if they can actually grab it for themselves and potentially get both.
They're gonna go for this right now. We'll take some time. I do want to see Golden Guardians rush the bottom river, and they are doing so. FBI gonna clear the wave. This Baron is a formality. It will absolutely happen. Again, I want to see Keith ult just to get a little more DPS, just to get on the map and do a little something. Baron will die. Ocean Dragon will die as well. Golden Guardians will not stop the Baron take, and that's okay.
Yep, so at the very least, Golden Guardians do grab an Ocean for themselves. They prevent Soul, but these fights going more and more and more in Immortals' favor. And, it does not seem like it needs to be the perfect engage whatsoever. Hakuho is just catching out Keith. Keith seems to be constantly split from the rest of the team, in bad positions, and he just gets engaged onto. Hakuho actually gets rooted up by FBI, who did play that very well, but not quite enough damage. And then watch sOAZ. sOAZ is just throwing himself at the opponent, saying, you have to hit me. You cannot ignore my champion. And as a result, they have to focus the set. They're pressured into attacking this champion, who is just shrugging off everything they can do.
Beautiful stuff out of this one so far is, it is very quickly approaching the Immortals win. A 2-2 start to the LCS season. Huge juked away, close to nearly rooted. Goldenglue on the side, running out of health. Gotta be careful. Gets the Hauntzer heal, Wish still held on to.
Yeah, Xayah getting really strong at this point. A couple auto attacks there, nearly enough to take down Goldenglue, who does have the death cap completed. FBI on 3 items, so those are some good things working here for Golden Guardians, but they're down 6K. The Baron buff, well, it's going to be tough to deal with, as this is the 1-3-1 being set up. You can see side waves being pushed in, top lane being pushed in, bot lane being pushed in. The 3-man squad actually going to rotate up through mid lane now to look to try to assault this top lane tier 2 and try to extend that gold lead even further.
All right, well, top turret goes down as the Immortals keep the push going with the Baron buff. The minions, of course, helping with that one, but the gold lead doing just as much. 2 points in heal for Hauntzer, has maxed Equinox second all the way. 5 points into that one, so damage as he can be, but damage is not enough kind of regardless for the Golden Guardians side. 3 minutes till Ocean Soul, but still a minute on this Baron power play as we wait for Immortals to push in for inhibitor turrets. All the 6 outer ones are gone. There's a kick on towards sOAZ. A lot of damage there, but 1,000 HP on him. Does plenty of damage back.
Yeah, he can just regen this back up, right? He's chilling with his Ocean, he's with that passive. They're never going to have enough damage to kill him with that. Ooh, close.
Wish comes down, might have lived all the same, but top turret's gonna fall regardless, as the Immortals have broken the base. They've taken down this top inhibitor.
Yeah. They just have no wave clear, right? Your wave clear is LeBlanc, who has to put herself in danger to actually go forward. Senna can't do it very well. Soraka can't do it, and the Immortals looking to close this one out.
He engaged the ult backwards here for him as well. Keeps Hinky as long as he can be, but no Wish makes it a lot harder. Waiting for the re-engage, though. Maybe something gets found out by Senna. Looking for the side as Goldenglue can't get that one either. Immortals knock down the second inhibitor. They continue to take control of this game. 9,000 gold lead, 2 inhibs down.
Yeah, playing it slow, playing it smart. There's no reason for them to do anything too risky here. They just have to not throw this one, so they're closing in, looking for the triple inhib play here. Immortals on the side, pressuring these members back off the turret where Iika can do damage.
There's the kick, but it's again on the tankiest member. They don't kill him quickly. It's actually Iika staying alive. They get the backline as well. Hauntzer is gone. No flash up to stay alive. The kick just not quite enough, sadly. And now sOAZ invincible. Big W coming across, and Keith gonna have a hard time with this one. Just chucked down by Xmithie. Iika on the side, finally a kill on the board, but it's a third kill way too late. Altec is godlike, 7-0-3. And who is left to defend but Senna and Closer? Good luck finding this one as the other 4 are pushing into the base with all the minions around. Stopwatch buys some time for Xmithie. Turret still taking damage. There's Demolish going in as well. The Q not doing enough damage. Xmithie a little bit low. Auto's coming out for FBI doing a little bit more as well. sOAZ is so tanky though. Will not go down. Won't find that route either. Turret's not yet falling. Poke coming out for FBI. Close still on the front line. Gets the shield down as well. But the Immortals still pushing. Still trying to find those openings. Shield still coming out. The first turret's going to drop. Look for the knockup. Not quite there for Hakuho. Just back to the team. And they go for the second turret. Now it's the open Nexus. But the support has respawned. Altec could be found. The flash does nothing. The Wish is too late. A 1 for 0. A 2 for 0. As FBI drops now as well. And it's going to be Keith dropping yet again his 6th death of the game as the Nexus falls. Immortals pads the stats and goes 2-2.
Well played game there from Immortals, and it did kind of turn out to be true. The Golden Guardians just didn't feel like they had enough damage to threaten in these team fights. They had a very annoying comp as far as being, very heavy on the sustain with the Senna as well as the Soraka, but they didn't have their consistent damage source that could ever threaten the front line. sOAZ, I think, when a really intelligent build was able to frontline so effectively, very defensive build here with that second item stone plate into what was going to be a Warmogs, and he went deathless, right? He did his job. All he had to do was run at the carries, force them to attack the Sett. There was no way that they were ever able to actually punch through him. So, it was a bit of a clever draft, I think, with the Soraka-Senna interaction, but it felt like it wasn't rounded out properly. It felt like it needed more as far as the team fight damage. But Immortals playing it out very, very well. Great game here from Altec.
Yeah. We talked about redemption arcs before the game started, and Altec back in the league for the first time in a couple of years, and he's been a solid performer here. Top performer, has been playing, a little bit off meta, right? Cassiopeia, some Ezreal games. Felios up, doesn't go for it here, kind of playing a bit of his own pool, but I think he's been a good performer, has been a solid player, and as you mentioned, sort of 8-0-5, he was the damage source for the team, and comp-wise makes total sense, right? He's able to free hit. There's no real backline access on the Golden Guardian side. He's not really threatened here by the LeBlanc with Merc Treads, and just puts out a ton of damage, does so successfully. Got the Executioners in for, the third big team fight, cut all the healing down, and it was great. So a good win for Immortals, and for more on that win, let's send it over to State from our analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. In the Battle of Redemption arcs, it is Immortals that comes out on top to move to 2-2.
Redeemier was the word.
Redeemier. They are the Redeemier of the two teams.
Some redemptions were saved for next game.
Right. Hey, this is something to aspire to. Let's talk about this victory, though, here for Immortals, and just kind of overall general impressions of these two teams and this game.
For me, I think I liked a lot of what I saw out of Hakuho. Kind of reminded us why he was considered one of the best supports in the league for a little bit. And when he gets hot, he gets really, really hot. This is, I think, one of those games where his Rakan found a lot of good engages, as well as baiting the team with the heals in. That's not something you usually see. That bot side chase through the red buff with the team against double heals usually goes the other way around.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians, I think... Oh, let's go back to Golden Guardians a little bit later. I think for Immortals, the fact that they're at least figuring out what they want for their laners is really important. The fact that sOAZ is playing these beefy frontliners that create space for everybody makes it so much easier for guys like Altec to actually be involved. And they're not taking cues from G2 like Golden Guardians is to pick Soraka and try to put themselves in these very difficult compositions. They've gone with something that is very easy to execute. happy to see
That's
it.
exactly. I want to key on a couple things there because we heard Azale talking about it as well. Kind of the setup for all of the fights was the same, right? Empower sOAZ to run at the carries, make them put damage into him, buy that real estate for the rest of his team to make moves. Easy execution. The team understood what winning looked like.
And you have Syndra Rek'Sai. It's so easy to set up something in the mid lane that way.
So now we'll jump over to Golden Guardians because the question is, did they do what we asked in the way of assuaging some of our doubts and concerns around this team from yesterday and the week before?
So Mark pointed out that they drafted pretty much the same comp as G2 except for the Tahm Kench, and they're not G2. That is a difficult thing to play.
I don't think that this comp is that difficult to play.
Really?
I think that they were just bad at it.
Okay.
There was a period of time around the Rift Herald, around like 19 minutes, there was some skirmish. The enemy team backed off after they couldn't kill anyone, and rather than like heal up and restart the Rift Herald and do extended fights with a double heal comp, they just backed off as well. That blew my mind. I was watching Hauntzer's ult usage. There was a time where they were in the middle of killing Xmithie and he just pressed it randomly. This just looked like they weren't practiced at the comp. Not that this is something I think is insanely difficult and teams should stay away from because you're not G2. I think that this is not that hard. Not impossible to play. Not any harder than any other.
The reality of professional League of Legends is, I would hope, that any of these 10 teams can pull that team comp off. To your point, they might not be practiced enough to do it today.
I think it's really tough to pull off because you have no wave clear with Senna and LeBlanc, so you need to get ahead early. And G2 ran it with Thresh, which allows you to play make, team up with LeBlanc and Lee Sin and do something in the mid game. But when you have Tahm Kench thinking, oh, this is going to stop Keith from inting, it doesn't work. None of the things work. So now you don't have a playmaking and you still have a lot of death. Thresh with a lantern might have actually saved you from dying because you play further back.
Yeah, hold on. I was going to say, I don't want to gloss over a little bit that you threw in there. It's not going to prevent Keith from inting. We're going to take a look at Keith's scoreline from the previous 4 games. It doesn't look hot, but really what this does, in my opinion, is paint the story of the issues with this roster that they could have the best strategy in mind. They could draft the team comp to achieve that strategy, but if people aren't in the right place at the right time and executing on their role in that team comp, you're never going to find the wins.
You said it doesn't look hot. Where does it land on the Mark hot scale here?
Lukewarm? Is it below lukewarm tea? Because FlyQuest is apparently lukewarm tea.
Heat Death of the Universe?
Heat Death of the Universe. Oh my God. Stay tuned for that chart coming to Twitter's near you or something like that. Yeah, we're going to get there. This will be created. Before we head on over to the Academy Showcase, let's go ahead and take a look at where the teams rank at the end, or not, well, the end of the weekend here. Cloud9, they reign supreme at 4-0 with Team Dignitas just behind them at 3-0. They'll play their final game of the week tomorrow during Monday Night League. Let's see how your predictions played out, though, against mine, which smashed!
You didn't even want Immortals.
I crushed it!
You didn't want Immortals or
100%!
Get
off my gas.
I should get credit for throwing you
That's what it is.
the minions that you wanted, but you didn't know you wanted them.
Oh, so in true analyst fashion, were you were throwing them intentionally so that I would catch only correct answers?
I was helping.
We analysts, we think too much. Like, we're always just contriving these ways that these teams
It must be hard to think so much in your big brain.
So much. Turns out we overthink things.
I'm glad I don't have your brain. I'd be exhausted all the time from all the thinking I have to do. The LCS week continues with Monday Night League, where FlyQuest and Team Dignitas kick things off at 5:30 p.m. PST, with TSM challenging CounterLogic Gaming to close out the week. TSM CLG, that's an old classic. TSM was able to pick up their first win of the split today, but let's talk about those 2 matchups coming at us.
I think the
Fly Dig.
Fly Dig is the most interesting because both had to play Team Liquid this week, and for the most part, Team Liquid killed FlyQuest, but Dignitas put up a really close fight. Now we get to have like a little bit of a control, experiment in some regards, because now they get to play each other. Did FlyQuest just have a bad game versus TL, or did TL have a bad game versus Dignitas? Now we really get to see how the top of the table stacks up.
I want to see TSM CLG, if not just from where they're at in the standings, but it's Xmithie against Biofrost, so they had swapped teams last offseason. So I think there's a lot of intensity from the supports that have not been as impactful as we thought they would be off this initial swap. And the team that loses this match, there's a potential they're going to go either 0-4 or 1-3. That is a terrible place to be for both these.
Both need to win.
It's a very odd position for this very historic matchup to be taking place from in terms of standings, which should make it all that much more exciting. If you need more league action, head on over to twitch.tv/academy or youtube.com/LOL Esports for the Academy Showcase taking place right after the break. That is going to do it for us, though, here on the desk. Now, for myself, the casters, the LCS crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you after the break for the Academy Showcase and Monday Night League tomorrow.